It feels great when you play an adventure game and find a unique location, discover a secret path, or get information from an NPC on something you were curious about. The game's environment design has a big impact on this experience. Therefore, in this video I'll discuss some of the concepts I discovered when creating a Metroidvania universe. These strategies, of course, work with any adventure game that encourages exploration. Now, let's explore each of these 7 principles individually. 1. Map design. Everyone who has played these kinds of games will tell you that one of the most crucial elements is the map system. It assists the player in navigating and understanding his position in the world, as well as making exploration easier and more trackable. However, maps are more than just a gameplay mechanic. It's a graphical representation of your complete environment. The map shows the player your geographical layout, essential landmarks, roads, and goals that they may have to pursue based on your narrative. It also aids in keeping track of currently unavailable destinations, upgrades, shops, and anything else the player might want to return to later. Thus, when creating a map, consider it not only as a compacted version of the level design, but also as the story of your universe. I've already made a more in-depth video about map design, so feel free to watch it to learn more about this process. 2. Priority. My experience as a game designer and player has taught me that lore is often overlooked at first. The audience instead concentrates on what the game has to offer in terms of gameplay, visual, and audio feedback. That being said, you shouldn't overwhelm players with gold details or force them to absorb too much information all at once. Allow your universe to gradually unravel as people explore it, and once they've come to love the game and your narrative, they'll understand the richness of the world building. Remember, you're building a game, thus quality gameplay should be your number 1 priority. Background details, character lore, and world history will go a long way, but only if you give them time to develop, and don't let them detract from the overall design of the game. 3. Primary and secondary lore elements. This may seem contradictory to what I just mentioned, but you will eventually have to push some story details on the player. Your game, however simple it might be, has a narrative that drives most of the events that occur in your environment. This necessary knowledge, let's say, are your primary lore elements, with enemies, bosses, and story NPCs being the most common ones. With those, you should be both selective and descriptive. Assume you are building a very simple game with only one boss and one NPC in each area. Because these are mandatory interactions, you have limited resources in terms of primary elements to provide information to the player about the particular location. Remember that you can only have a limited number of bosses and NPCs in your game, so make the most of them. Secondary elements, on the other hand, do not necessarily distract the player from their progress or courses of action. These are background factors that exist just for someone to see and draw a conclusion or assumption from. You may be considerably more generous with those because they have no effect on gameplay or pacing. 4. Frequency. If you are an indie team or a solo developer, as you are most likely since you are watching this video, you don't have the luxury or resources to cover every pixel of your background with intricate designs and polished details. So, accept that there will be times when your background is just a flat texture, especially in fast-paced gameplay areas where the player's attention is drawn to the action. You must always calculate how many details you want your environment to have based on the requirements of each scene. In any case, placing your landmarks and narrative items deliberately in specified locations makes them feel more noticeable and deserving of attention. These discoveries can also be accompanied by item pickups and upgrades to make them more significant in terms of gameplay. Keep also in mind that repeating elements from your world construction, such as sculptures and architectural designs, will appear several times in the scenes you create. By the way, don't forget to try out Astra Fading Stars, to get the general feeling of the game. There is a free demo on Steam right now. Also, check out the book Song of Elusica, The Ancient Gemstone, if you want to learn more about the lore of this world. 5. Characters and dialogues. Characters contribute significantly to the storytelling of your universe, and they may be the most important source because they are usually what the audience relates to. Characters that are relatable enrich your narrative and make the player want to understand more about the world in which they live in. Be sure to give them depth and personality so that their words or actions have more impact. If the player is disinterested in the characters, they may not pay attention to what they have to say. It's also important to keep their dialogue flexible. You may have observed that in many games you can speak to the NPC multiple times to learn more about what they have to say. This is an excellent approach to avoid overwhelming the player with information while yet providing them with options. 6. Descriptions. You can also include wall details in the descriptions of enemies, bosses or items. This can tell you about the background of the various components, what they are and how they relate to your environment. Further information about your world can be found by consulting the journal or compendium, which fills up as players travel the land, collect items, defeat bosses and meet new characters. These gameplay features also aid in the organization of the audience's thoughts. With well-structured lists of your elements, one can quickly find the information they require. 7. Consistency and meaning. You can have the most stunning visuals and intricate designs in the world, but if they don't symbolize anything or have any deeper meaning, they don't contribute much to your world building. Consider what an element means or represents when adding it to your background. Perhaps there is a statue of a historical figure that was sculpted because that specific person achieved something important. Of course, not all statues and architectural designs are necessarily part of your lore. Some might be just decorations. However, it's good to be consistent across your designs. Which brings me to my last point, consistency. You should keep the events and details of your world consistent. If something happened for fact in your historical timeline, then everything that points to that event should confirm it. Of course, many aspects of your world may be myths, and it's fine to be cryptic from time to time, but make sure you include enough hints and information to justify speculation. That's about it for my fundamental insights on world building in adventure games. If you have any other important principle to add that I forgot to mention, please write in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share for more game design content. Thanks for watching.